Deep within old Persia, hidden among the rough mountains of Iran, a secret group appeared, spreading fear in the hearts of rulers, leaders, and crusaders. They were the Hashashin, or assassins, a hidden group of deadly fighters whose name became a word for fear and killing. Their mysterious leader was Hassan-i-Sabbah, a man whose beliefs, ideas, and methods made him one of history's most puzzling and feared people. But who was Hassan-i-Sabbah? What drove his faith, and why did it lead to such violence? How did his group of assassins work? Who were their targets? And importantly, how did this reign of fear finally end? Today, we explore the dark truth behind the legend of Hassan-i-Sabbah and the Hashashin. Hassan-i-Sabbah was born in the early 11th century, likely around 1050 AD, in the city of Qom, Persia. He was born into a Twelver Shia Muslim family. From a young age, he was different, smart, curious, and very religious. He learned religion, thinking, and knowledge, looking for answers to life's biggest questions. But Hassan was not satisfied with just learning. He imagined something greater, a world where his beliefs would lead humanity. While visiting Cairo, he was deeply influenced by the minority Ismaili Shia faith. The Ismailis were a persecuted minority. He saw it as his mission to spread their belief. He began preaching his faith passionately, influencing many young people. However, his faith took a radical and violent turn. Problems such as blind obedience, Batanism, and the use of terror as a tool emerged. Hassan became obsessed with his twisted faith, leading to cruel actions. As Hassan's power grew, so did his ruthlessness. He saw enemies everywhere, and anyone who opposed him became a target. His teachings took on a darker tone, emphasizing absolute loyalty and the necessity of violence to achieve their goals. He introduced the concept of Batanism, the idea that only he and his closest followers could interpret the true hidden meanings of Islam. This allowed him to justify any action, no matter how extreme, as divinely ordained. Blind obedience became the cornerstone of his movement. His followers, believing they were chosen for a divine mission, followed his orders without question. They were willing to sacrifice their lives for him, convinced that such acts would guarantee them eternal paradise. This blind faith made them perfect instruments of terror. Hassan's obsession with his twisted faith led to increasingly cruel actions. He used terror as a tool to instill fear and maintain control, orchestrating assassinations and spreading chaos. His network of spies and killers grew, and their reputation for ruthless efficiency spread far and wide. The seeds of the Hashashin's reign of terror had been sown, and the world was about to witness the full extent of their deadly influence. Hassan was a master of planning and trickery. Instead of fighting open battles against his enemies, he focused on gathering loyal followers, whom he trained to be spies, saboteurs, and killers. He carefully spread Ismaili beliefs and secretly built a network of loyal killers across Persia and Syria. Hassan's followers were no longer just believers. They were tools of his will. They killed without hesitation, believing they were serving a higher purpose. Hassan used opium and hashish to control his followers, making them dependent on him for their sense of purpose and belonging. During initiation, new members were drugged and taken to a secret garden designed to look like paradise. When they woke up, Hassan told them that if they died in his service, they would return to this paradise forever. This brainwashing made them fearless and completely loyal. The line between faith and fanaticism began to blur. With his faith as his weapon and his followers as his army, Hassan-i-Sabbah was ready to change the world. But his journey was just beginning, and so was his descent into darkness. By the late 11th century, Hassan had gathered enough power to make his boldest move, capturing Alamut, known as the Eagle's Nest. This hidden fortress stronghold was nestled in the northern Iranian Alborz Mountains. Alamut stood as one of history's toughest fortresses. Knowing that a direct attack was useless, Hassan used a mix of bribery, persuasion, and stealth to slowly take over the fortress. Over time, he convinced many of the garrison's soldiers to join his side. With enough supporters, he took control without any bloodshed. The former ruler of Alamut was sent away. This fortress would become the center of Hassan's rule. From this base, he built a secret army of loyal followers. They were known as the Hashashin, meaning users of hashish. This term eventually turned into the word assassin. Alamut became the main hub for the Hashashin, a secret brotherhood of assassins. The Hashashin were different from any other fighting group of their time. They were experts in the skill of sneaking. Often they would mix into enemy camps, pretending to be merchants or travelers. Their favorite weapon was the dagger, and they always attacked in public to spread fear. They went after important people like kings, generals, and religious leaders who opposed Hassan's beliefs. Their attacks were always in broad daylight, often in busy places, to make their terror more effective. They only used daggers, avoiding poison or bows, to make sure their message was clear. Living among their targets for long periods, they became masters of disguise. As a scary warning, they would leave a dagger beside their target's bed before making their move. The Hashashin were behind the deaths of some of the era's most important people. They mainly went after political and religious enemies who opposed their Ismaili beliefs. Famous assassinations: Nizam al-Mulk in 1092 AD, the important vizier of the Seljuk Empire. His killing sent waves of fear throughout the Islamic world. The assassins earned the nickname Silent Death. Crusader leaders, they tried to kill King Conrad of Jerusalem, who died from his injuries soon after. Seljuk and Abbasid leaders, many Turkish and Sunni leaders were killed by their blades. Even the famous Saladin Ayyubi, who conquered Jerusalem and united the Muslim world, was on their hit list. The Hashashin tried to kill him twice, but he survived both attempts. In response, Saladin Ayyubi launched fierce campaigns to destroy them. The Hashashin scared even the most powerful rulers of the time. Some rulers paid bribes to avoid becoming targets. What made Alamut unbeatable? Alamut's strength came from its smart location, clever design, and strong defenses. Sitting at a high spot, the fortress stood 2,100 meters, or 7,000 feet above sea level, making it almost impossible to capture. Single access route. The only way in was a narrow winding path, easily guarded by a small group. Advanced storage systems. Alamut had underground water tanks and large grain stores, allowing its defenders to last through long sieges. Wide spy network. The Hashashin had informants in enemy courts, making sure they always knew about upcoming attacks. For nearly 200 years, Alamut and other assassin strongholds fought off every invasion attempt. Even the powerful Seljuks and Crusaders could not defeat them. For nearly 200 years, the Hashashin thrived in secrecy. But by the 1200s, two strong forces emerged to end their rule. The Mongols, a relentless force of destruction. In the 1250s, the Mongols, led by Hulagu Khan, began their takeover of Persia. Seeing the Hashashin as a threat, they launched a full-scale attack on Alamut in 1256 AD. Using siege weapons and ruthless tactics, the Mongols destroyed everything in their way. The last Grand Master of the Hashashin, Rukn al-Din, was captured and executed. Alamut was destroyed, marking the end of their rule in Persia. The Mamluks of Egypt. While the Mongols wiped out the Hashashin in Persia, their Syrian group lasted for a while. Yet, in 1273 AD, the strong Mamluk Sultan Baybars finally defeated them, ending their power in the area. Although the Hashashin disappeared, their legend lives on in modern culture. Their ways gave rise to the term assassin, and they often appear in movies, books, and games like Assassin's Creed. However, Hassan-i-Sabbah and his followers were far from romantic figures. They were fanatics who used fear and violence to reach their goals. While some see them as early freedom fighters, others consider them one of history's first terrorist groups. What remains clear is that their story is a dark and violent chapter in Middle Eastern history. Hassan-i-Sabbah's strong belief led to the creation of one of history's most mysterious secret groups. The Hashashin struck fear into the hearts of rulers, killed kings, and shook empires. Yet their rule of terror eventually fell under the unstoppable Mongol invasion. Their story teaches an important lesson. Fear can hold power, but it never lasts. What are your thoughts on the Hashashin? Were they seen as heroes or villains? Share your opinions in the comments below. If you found this video interesting, please like, share, and subscribe for more historical explorations. Thank you for watching.